is about overview of accounting. Learning objectives, define accounting, and understand its basic purpose. Understand the basic concepts applied in accounting. Know the branches of accounting and sectors in the practice of accountancy. Understand the need for financial reporting standards and how they are developed. Appreciate the reason for the adoption of international financial reporting standards. Also, the definition of accounting is the process of identifying, measuring, and communicating economic information to permit informed judgment and decision by users of information by AAA, American Association of Accountants. So this accounting is very important because it is always in all aspects of life, organization, companies. So I think yung pinaka-importante is yung accounting talaga kasi kahit sa bahay lang natin, household computation of budgeting of your parents or your mother especially. So this is also important thing. Also on the companies and the organization, which is the financial information of a certain companies or a certain organization, because it helps the decision makers to decide, or it helps the decision makers to know what is happening on the operation of their entire business. So the three important activities includes the definition of accounting or identifying, which is the process of analyzing events and transactions to determine whether or not they will be recognized in the books. Only accountable events are recognized in the books. Measuring involves assigning numbers, normally in monetary terms, to the economic transactions and events. Communicating the process of transforming economic data into useful accounting information, such as financial statement and other accounting reports of dissemination to users. Like for example, you bought a laptop which you will be needing on the business, on your business, or the entire operation. There is a transaction happening. So in that transaction, you have to identify what to record on your books and your ledgers, and you have to measure it on the amount that is given or what will be recording on the books. And for communicating or communication, as I said a while ago, that is the financial information of the entire operation or the business operation that will be needing by whatever the results of the operation that will be needing by the decision makers to continue the operation or not, or what to do. Types of events are external events. Events which involves an entity and external party. Exchange, reciprocal transfer, reciprocal giving and receiving, non-reciprocal transfer, one-way transaction. External event other than transfer, an event that involves changes in the economic resources or obligation of an entity caused by an external party or external sources but does not involve transfers of resources or obligations. Internal events which do not involve an external party, like production, the process by which resources are transformed into finished goods, or casualty and anticipated loss from disasters or other similar events. So as I mentioned, or give example that you bought a laptop, which we will be using for the entire operation of the transaction. There is a transactions already, which is the give and take. The reciprocal, you bought the laptop and you have that laptop and you have to record it in a transaction in your book of account, which you have to identify, you have to measure it and be communicated. So there is a transaction with that certain event, which is there is an economic resources or obligation. It's either you bought that amortized, or you have to bought, like you have to pay it on monthly basis, quarterly, it depends. For either you get it in the resources or you have an obligation on it or accounts payable for it. So you have to record it, you have to identify it, you have to measure and communicate at the same time. So for the internal events, this is on the production. If it's transport and the finished goods, like manufacturing company, like you have purchased goods and sell it, and or either way, if services as well. In the casualty, it's like on anticipated events, like now pandemic. who knows that there is a disaster. Actually, for me, it's a disaster because it's a pandemic. Who knows, 2 years 2 years ago or until now, currently we are still suffering for this kind of pandemic. We doesn't know, we don't anticipate this kind of situation. Or either way, those calamities that happens in our country, like typhoons, earthquakes, and those unanticipated events that we doesn't know. For the measurement basis, it's a historical cost price based on the past exchange. Like, for example, you bought that certain laptop before, it's 20,000, but after 5 years, it's already 50,000. So you have to base it, or you have to compare the historical base of that certain kind of operation, the current cost price based on the current exchange, realizable or settlement value, net cash that could currently be obtained by selling, and the assets in an orderly disposal, present value, price based on a price based on future exchange, where value the price that would be received to sell an asset or paid or transfer a liability in an orderly transactions between market participants at the measurement date. The fair value less cost to sell. Cost to sell are the incremental costs directly attributable to the disposal of an asset, excluding finance costs and income tax expense. Revalued amount is the assets of fair value at the date of the revaluation less any subsequent accumulated depreciation and subsequent accumulated impairment losses. For the inflation or adjusted costs, amounts adjusted to the measuring unit current at the reporting date. Purpose of accounting. The basic purpose of accounting is to provide information about economic activities intended to be useful in the making of economic decisions. So what I am explaining a while ago, that it is the financial information to provide on the decision makers. Types of accounting information as to user needs. General purpose accounting information refers to information designed to meet the needs of most statement users. Special purpose accounting information refers to information designed to meet the specific needs of particular statement user. Basic accounting concept, double entry system. Each accountable event is recorded in two parts, debit and credit. Going concern assumption is the entity is assumed to carry on the operation for an indefinite period of time, while separate entity, accounting entity, or business entity concept, the entity is viewed separately from these owners, while stable monetary unit assumptions, its assets, liabilities, equity, income, and expenses are stated in terms of a common unit of measure, peso, in the Philippines. While time period or periodicity or accounting period, the life of the entity is divided into series of reporting periods. An accounting period is usually 12 months and may either be calendar year or a fiscal year period. For the materiality concept, the information is material if it is omission or misstatement could influence economic decision. Well, cost benefit or cost constraint, reasonable assurance, the cost of processing and communicating information should not exceed the benefits to be derived from it. Accrual basis of accounting. Income is recognized when earned rather than when cash is collected, and expenses are recognized when incurred rather than when cash is paid. So mind you, class, you have to record the cash if it is already earned and collected. Don't record if it is not yet earned or collected, class, because sometimes there is a problem, or there is we doesn't know, we have to encounter that certain problem. So that is why sometimes we have to put it in the bad debts if it's under in accounts receivables or uncollectible accounts, or either way you have to, yes, you have to put it in the bad debts or written off. For historical cost concept, cost principle, the value of an asset is determined on the basis of acquisition cost, concept of articulation. All the components of the complete set of financial statements are interrelated. For full disclosure principle, these principles recognizes that the nature and amount of information included in the financial statement reflect a series of judgmental trade-offs Consistency concept: the financial statements are prepared on the basis of accounting principles that are applied consistently from one period to the next periods. Matching or association of cause and effect: costs are recognized as expenses when the related revenue is recognized. While entity theory, the accounting objective is geared towards proper income determination. Proprietary theory is the accounting objective is geared towards the property valuation of assets. Equity theory: this theory is applicable when there are two classes of shares issued, ordinary and preferred. The equation is assets minus liabilities, preferred minus preferred shareholders' equity, or ordinary shareholders' equity. Fund theory: the accounting objective is the custody and administration of funds. The objective is directed towards cash flows, exemplified by the formula cash inflows minus cash outflows is equals to funds. Realization: the process of converting non-cash assets into cash or claims for cash. Prudence or conservatism refers to the use of caution when making estimates under condition of uncertainty, such that assets are income are not or overstated, or are not overstated, and liabilities or expense are not understated. Of accounting or financial accounting is the branch of accounting that focuses on general purpose financial statements. General purpose financial statements are those statements that cater to the common needs of a wide range of external users. Management accounting is the accumulation and communication of information for use by internal users or management, while cost accounting is the systematic recording and analysis of the cost, materials, labor, and factory overhead incident to production. Auditing is the process of evaluating the correspondence of certain assertions with established criteria and expressing an opinion thereon. Tax accounting is the preparation of tax returns and rendering of tax advice, such as the determination of the tax consequences of certain proposed business endeavors. Government accounting is the accounting for the government and its instrumentalities, placing emphasis on the custody of public funds, the purpose for which those funds are committed, and the responsibility and accountability of the individuals entrusted with those funds. Fiduciary accounting is the handling of accounts managed by person entrusted with the custody and management of property for the benefit of others. Estate accounting is the handling of the accounts of fiduciary who wind up the affairs of a deceased person. Social accounting or social and environment accounting or social responsibility reporting is the process of communicating the social and environmental effects of an entity's economic action to the society. Institutional accounting is the accounting for non-profit institution other than the government. Accounting system: the installation of accounting procedures for the accumulation of financial data and designing of accounting forms to be used in data gathering. While accounting research is the careful analysis of accounting events and other variables to understand their impact on decisions. For four sectors of the practice of accountancy, practice of public accountancy involves the rendering of audit or accounting related services to more than one client on a fee basis, not free, fee basis class. So again, if you graduated on your course in Bachelor of Science Accountancy, you have to take the board examination or certified public accountant examination, and you passed. If you pass the certified public accountant examination, you will be called a certified public accountant or a CPA. Mind you, class, it is so very keen enough on taking a board examination. I think the results of the board examination or CPA board examination are already released, which is only 361 board of account certified public accountant passed out of, imagine mo, 3,000 something. It's only like 15%. So you have to prepare kumbaga, mano-mano talaga ngayon, and at the same time, you have to be prepared enough on taking of that certain board examination. So practice in commerce and industry refers to employment in the private sector in a position which involves decision-making requiring professional knowledge in the science of accounting, and such position requires that the holder thereof must be a certified public accountant. Practice in education and academic employment in an educational institution which involves teaching of accounting, auditing, management, advisory services, finance, business law, taxation, and other related subjects. Practice in the government employment or appointment to position in accounting professional group in the government or in a government owned and or controlled corporation, including those performing proprietary functions where making requires professional knowledge in the science of accounting, or where civil service eligibility as a certified public accountant is a prerequisite. So class, if you pass the certified public accountant, you are automatically civil service eligibility. So if whatever board examination you pass, if you're a doctor, medical doctor, you are certified public accountant as a PA, you are med tech, you pass the board examination, you are automatically civil service eligible. Okay. So for accounting standards in the Philippines, the Philippine Financial Reporting Standards, or PFRS, represents the generally accepted accounting principles, or the GAA, in the Philippines. They are adopted by the Financial Reporting Standards Councils and comprise Philippine Financial Reporting Standards, or PFRS, the Philippine Accounting Standards, or PAS, and interpretation. So that ends our class discussion for today's